So this week, you've probably noticed that we've been checking in with teachers, students, school districts across the region to get a sense of how they're doing with remote learning during the pandemic, because we know it has been far from easy. This morning, we head to Pomona. Joining us today is the superintendent of a district that is one of the largest in the region, more than 22,000 students across 41 schools, including the city of Diamond Bar. Here's some stats about this district. 86% of the students are Hispanic. And with the winter break beginning next week, well, how are the kiddos and teachers doing? Let's check in with the Superintendent Richard Martinez. What a delight to speak with you about your district. You know, obviously you've had a chance as the year kind of draws to a close, a big year it's been, a tough year. You've had a chance to reflect perhaps on what you have learned. And I imagine even as the superintendent, in a year like this, you've learned a whole lot.
Absolutely. I think a lot of us have learned quite a bit over this time. From the beginning, one thing that we learned is equipping our teachers, equipping our staff, ensuring that they're ready to present in a remote learning environment 100% of the time. So that has been important. And the professional development too, as well. We want to make sure that we're ready and be able to use the equipment we're given and assigned.
You make a good point about the equipment that you're given. I imagine that it's been a point of educating some of the families, right, out there doing this remote learning and the distance learning. They're being challenged in their own ways. Are there some resources that they don't know are available to them to help?
So we have communicated with everyone. At that point in March, we had about 95% of our folks that had computers at home are students. However, the use of the equipment for our parents, you're right, we had to do a lot of work with our parent facilitators, ensuring that they were equipping our parents. And so our parents could support their kids. So yeah, just at the beginning was just an uphill learning curve that we saw with our families and our teachers, because it was a different modality of teaching.
Sure, the relationship between the schools and parents has always been strong, but now more than ever, keeping that line of communication open, super vital.
Yes.
We saw some data this week about students of color. Your district is about 86% Hispanic, something that you can relate to yourself, Mr. Martinez. Talk about the fact that the students that are struggling are primarily students of color. What's being done in your district to bridge that gap?
So we've contracted with some organizations. I know the club, which used to be the Boys and Girls Club of this community. We currently have about 10 cohorts. And so those are smaller groups, pods, that we are looking at the most needy and those that need more care. There's another organization, Justice for Youth. They're also helping us with students that are foster care youth. They're also helping out with students that are homeless in our community. So it's giving them a location, a place, and a caring adult to support them through this.
Giving them the infrastructure, because that's one thing you have as a school district, right? You've got the infrastructure, and it's about forming these partnerships. Talk about how to address the needs of special education students in your district. We know that oftentimes kids like that are going to fall through the cracks when it comes to something like distance learning.
Absolutely. So our teachers have been incredible throughout this whole thing. The partnership between organizations, parents, and teachers, working with our special needs population, our paraprofessionals, supporting those teachers. And it's been mostly remote learning. We do assessment in person, even though we've suspended that over the last 2 weeks because of the surge. But I'm very, very proud of the services by our service providers, by our teachers, and by our paraprofessionals, but mostly online. We've been providing those services. You
referenced the surge that we've been seeing. It is very real in all of our communities. Pomona, no different, to be sure. The district has a community COVID-19 pledge. What is that? What does it entail?
So we wanted to include and involve our community, our business community, our community-based organizations, our churches. We want them to make a commitment to returning our kids sooner. And it takes all of us to do that. We are making a pledge, and it's basically a promise that I'm going to wear a mask. I'm going to be 6 feet apart. I'm not going to come in groups that are outside of my home. And I'm going to practice this until this this entire pandemic is over. So we're not asking for a 2 or 3 week time frame to do this. We're talking until they get vaccinated, until this goes, blows over. It could be 6 months, it could be a year. And we've really had a lot of people participate
That's great.
in this pledge.
It's fantastic. I hear you echo what your peer, LAUSD Superintendent Austin Buettner, told us on the air yesterday, is that the desire is to get kids back to in-class instruction, but we can't do that until it's safe to do so. Superintendent Martinez, it's been a joy to speak with you from Pomona and talking about your district there and the work you're doing. Thank you for sharing about the pledge. Maybe this is a thing other communities can replicate in their own areas. Good to see you. Please stay safe, and all the best for the holidays for you.
Thank you. Happy holidays, Michaela. We appreciate you.
Okay. We appreciate you too, sir.